Welcome back. Welcome back to AFTV. Welcome back to Full Time Show. Download the AFTV Plus app. Help us out. We need your thoughts and opinions. Download the app. Join us on FANZONE, and you can have your say. Turkish, an update from when we were last live. Mikel Arteta is absolutely livid about the decision to allow the goal. Said it's embarrassing. Said in 20 years of being in the game, something about either he said he hasn't seen a decision like this or whatever. I don't know. Look, he's furious about it.
Does he have any quotes about the lack of chances created yet again? How about he mentions that, because if that goal's not allowed, it's 0-0. Is that what he wanted? Is that what he played for?
And I think there's a lot we need to cover, from the players to the manager setup to lack of fluidity to the decisions in the game. So why don't we just get this refereeing thing out of the way? Because I don't think me and you are, from what I've heard in my fan cam and talking before, from what I heard in my fan cam, I don't think we're sitting here feeling the word robbed, if that makes sense. I think some pretty shit decisions were made, but I don't think they... I have bigger concerns, if that makes sense, about what went wrong today for Arsenal.
100%. And if Arteta's focusing on that, then he's not focusing on the right thing.
Well,
because that can happen. We know that can happen every week. But something that we've seen all season, or I've seen all season, is a lack of chances created, a lack of fluidity, a lack of a cutting edge in the final third. And it was evident yet again today, both prior to the goal and after the goal. So whether you think, I heard you say it's harder to score after you concede, and you are right, because teams, especially in the last 15, 20 minutes, are going to set up defensively. But you still expect waves of attacks. It's not waves.
You'd expect something that makes them last ditch, something that makes them sweat a little
heading
bit.
out of the box, and some bodies on the line. Sometimes we're not doing that. We're failing to apply pressure in games. In the final third, we can apply pressure off the ball quite well. That's one of the great attributes we have as a team, our pressing. But on the ball, we're failing to pressurize most defenses we've played against this season.
So I knew we'd get a lot of this. Here we go. Thomas Oliver says, James, what are you on about? We got robbed. Jay Bravery says the ball's out of play. The ball isn't out of play. beIN Sports actually did manage to recreate a over the line, like a along the line look at it. And people need to stop seeing a gap between ball and line and think that it's out of play. The ball might not be touching the line. It just has to be in line with it. So a ball will be like this. So there's the line. Let me show. So the ball might not be touching it, like you roll it on, but it's still in line with it, and so it might still be in play. So I don't think we can be too frustrated about that one. Some people saying it came off Joe Linton's arm, or there's an offside. Again, I don't know. The offside, I'm not sure about. I didn't really see what they were exactly looking for in the offside there. The handball off Joe Linton, again, I'm not I didn't see any clear angle of that. The one thing I think Arsenal have a real claim at is the push in the back from Joe Linton into Gabriel. Something, and I can't explain why, I don't know why, something tells me that it is a bad decision. The goal should be disallowed. I do think it's a foul on Gabriel. But a little part of me thinks that when you've got last week Højlund and the Rodri one, given, then that means this week's one should definitely be disallowed. It's definitely a foul. But I've seen so many where there's always pushing or hands, or sometimes players. I'm not sticking up for Joe Linton here, by the way, but sometimes you have your hands on a back for distance, like to measure distance between a player or to hold your ground, and something for whatever reason. And before everyone goes nuts in the comments, I do think it's a foul, but we need to remember that a lot of these decisions are looked at as, is it a clear and obvious error? And I think it is, but the fact that I'm saying I think it is suggests that there's a little bit of wiggle room there for VAR to basically allow it and say, well, we don't want to disallow goals. The problem is that they've gone so against that with other decisions that it just leaves me confused. I really am confused about it all.
Shall I be honest with you, James?
Yeah, you don't care.
I'm tired of talking about referees and VAR.
Yeah,
and Arsenal fans, come on.
But let me push you,
but if we did get robbed, though, let's say we got robbed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's start it off like this. We've been robbed of 1 point. Yeah. Now that's out of the way, can we talk about the performance? Because
I hear you.
What are we gonna do? Moan about the refs again? Like, yes, it's contentious. Yes, Guimaraes in that first half by their own rules.
So that's the one I think is terrible. That's the clear Stonewall one. For me, the Guimaraes one is an obvious red card.
Yeah, that's fair. I get that, but it wasn't given. It was 0-0, and we failed to create chances. That is, for me, the bigger problem, because I can't tell you next week if the referees are going to be any better. I can't, and in all likelihood, the evidence will tell you no. But I can tell you that compared to last season, Arsenal are failing to create as many chances. Arsenal are failing to excite. Arsenal are not fluid in the transition. Arsenal are not cutting edge in the final third. Why? That's what I'm more interested in talking about and finding out from Mikel Arteta than speaking about the referees and the worst decision in 20 years. No, we saw a worse one 3 weeks ago at Liverpool-Tottenham. So like, let's not dwell on it. Like, let's talk about the reality of the situation, and that's our team is not flowing like it did last season. And before today, the common clapback to that or pessimism for me was we haven't lost a game in the league this season. Well, now we have lost a game. How about we look at it like this? We've lost 3 games this season.
Yeah,
it's the beginning of November. We've lost 3 games. Yeah. It's not unbeaten in the league, so everything's rosy. Yeah. We've lost 3 games, 1 in all competitions so far that we've been in, 1 costing us, Carabao Cup. And there was much debate about what the Carabao Cup was worth. Now, if you follow up a heavily rotated side and the next in the Carabao Cup with that, which was a loss, and when we delve into the performance, I'm gonna give them credit because we was controlled, composed, and calm away at St. James Park. That was the pros. But we failed to turn that into anything else. Like XG come the end, and here I am, me talking about XG. Because the same people that will clap back at me and call me pessimist and negative and moaning are the same people that will use XG. So look at our XG, we 0.5. We did nothing to win that game. And really and truly, you said before the game, gun to your head, you take a point now, would you do it? We both said no, because we both thought we can win the game. And when you see how composed, controlled, and calm we was in that first half, we had the platform to win it. But the attack let us down because the attack. There's no chemistry. Forget fluidity. I'm going to use the word chemistry for the next 7 weeks. So I'm tired of using the word
chemistry.
fluidity.
Yeah, chemistry is a good word. Okay. Touch of Awesome Super Chat says Arteta popping off. Love that pressure. Love that passion. Poor game though. Okay, so fine. You want to focus on the performance. I think the performance is a really weird one for me. I'm not going to sit here and say it was good, but I do think Arsenal, and you've actually said it yourself, they deserve credit for calming down, getting the ball on the floor, playing, and like you say, giving a good platform. I think everyone's going to look at have Arsenal got better or worse on last season. I think defensively we're legitimately better defensively. I think Saliba, Gabriel today were fantastic. I don't think Jorginho did anything wrong really. I thought Declan Rice was outstanding, and the platform there was good. Like they did their thing to subdue the Newcastle midfield, who resorted to kicking and fucking forearming and everything. And Arsenal then had to look to Havertz, Martinelli, Saka, and Nketiah to play. And it doesn't go further than me just saying this once and then leaving it before we go on to the main analysis of it. I think they all tried legitimately. I don't think any of them I don't think any of them crumbled to the pressure. I don't think any of them looked like they didn't want it. I think they all tried, but there was a real lack of quality in the game today. When we got in and around their penalty area, there was such a lack of knitting things together, 1-2s, combinations, patterns of play to fall back on, balls delivered into dangerous areas, through balls, shots that actually hit corners, so you're at least asking questions of Pope. There was nothing that was like as much as I don't think we deserve to lose this game, we can't feel aggrieved about it either unless you want to focus so much on the refereeing stuff. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. That's why it is weird. It is a weird one because it looked like the platform we had created for ourselves in the first half would lead to us getting, at the bare minimum, a point from the game.
Yeah.
But then the second half comes, and as much as it was a bit of the same old from Arsenal, which was, controlling, composed, it was essentially doing nothing with it when you come to a zone on the pitch where, you either take this risk or you pass left and right and then reset. We kept on passing left, right and resetting. And then 2 times before Newcastle scored, we were caught out. 2 quick passes and Newcastle were onto us. One of them led to Ben White making a last-ditch block, and the other one, I think, petered out. But those are the warning signs. Listen, as much as, we're going more on the front foot, we're failing to create any chances by doing that in the second half, and we're exposing ourselves defensively a little bit. 2 warnings, third time lucky for Newcastle, albeit with a poor refereeing decision that I'm not going to dwell on. But we didn't look at those warning signs and do anything about it. We concede a goal. And to be honest, I'm talking about everything because it's just pissing me off. We concede a goal and our first attacking substitution is Zinchenko. Like, I'm sorry, but like, maybe I probably am a dinosaur, but fuck me. Imagine in 99 or 2002 or like 2004, you need a goal and you bring on a left back or a right back. I don't give a shit about the inverting stuff. Like, please, like, don't you have any attackers you trust? Attackers, not someone who inverts into attack. Don't you have any attackers you trust to come on right now and give us something? Not Zinchenko.
Yeah. Well, what's more scary is that £400 million later, the first 11 to go and win the league was built over a year ago. It was the end of the summer of 2022. That 11, Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel Zinchenko, Partey, Xhaka, Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus. That team went 50 points at the halfway stage. It was on a 100 point pace. It could win the title, but we knew there were questions about depth. Saliba gets injured, Holding comes in. Jesus gets injured, Nketiah still questions. We didn't have any depth out on the wings. Since then, new deal for Nelson, Trossard signed, Kai Havertz signed, Jorginho signed, and then you've had another year of Fabio Vieira, and you're looking at these players going, Mikel, like, have you helped out that? Because people are going to go in on Saka and Martinelli. I struggle to do that because they are two 22-year-olds who have given us so much over the last 2-3 years, and we haven't adequately added depth. Now, some people might say Trossard. Listen, Trossard isn't like for like with Martinelli. For me, he's closer to Jesus. Yeah. There's more depth there. So I think what Arteta needs to look at, while he's furious about the refereeing and all that, look, I understand the anger towards it. I do think they had a bit of a disaster. But why could you not do anything from the bench? I disagree. I don't hate the Zinchenko thing. Zinni's got the ability to thread the ball through an eye of a needle. I think that's a risk worth taking. Ben White switched off on the goal. I'm okay with that. But why is there nothing else? Saka didn't do anything today. Why couldn't you turn to a Reece Nelson?
But you know what Zinchenko does? The eye of the needle stuff and all of this stuff. That is from the latter part of the defensive third into the first part of the midfield phase, yeah? The problem was the fucking final third, James. So how does Zinchenko help the final third aside from being another body there to pass to?
Well, look, listen, we don't need to go back and forth over Zinchenko. I do think
it's the decision to bring him on, not the player itself. That's why everything for me today is on Arteta. Whether we want to talk about Raya's mistake, whether we want to talk about the lack of chances created, is Eddie a sufficient backup to Jesus? Has Havertz done anything since signing for the club? Is Jorginho sufficient backup to Partey? All of these questions lead back to Mikel. He's the only one that can answer these questions.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's get callers in. I know a lot of people have a lot to say. Help us make sense of it. Who's our first caller joining us? Hey, Deanie, how you doing, mate?
What's going on, James? What's going on, Turkish? Bless up. Sadly, but not surprisingly, it was coming. I believe it was coming. Interestingly, before the game even started, I was watching the stream. And I was watching your face, Turkish. I was actually watching your face. And amongst everything, it's not that you were saying anything or doing anything crazy. It just looked like you were about to watch a game where you've seen something that's already coming, basically. It's almost like you already saw it was either going to be a 0-0 or we were going to lose. And I took that on, and I felt that because everything, even leading up to this point, the transfer window, the games, the lack of fluidity, everything coming in, and the fact that there was no Ødegaard today, there was no Jesus today, I was looking to, okay, where are we going to get the creativity today? We got an out-of-form Havertz in there. We got Jorginho's there, who's not really meant to be creating, he's meant to be sitting and dictating the play. So I'm thinking it's either going to come from Rice, who is probably the best midfielder on the pitch today, or Saka or Martinelli, who, like James alluded to, are our youngsters. There wasn't enough in the team or from the team today to get the win. Yes, the goal was very contentious and we could go backwards and forwards. I don't really want to talk about that because that is out of our control. What is in our control is the fact that Arteta doesn't trust players like Vieira or Nelson to come in and change the game, because I was even thinking, why was Zinchenko the first substitution to come in when we actually need something in the attacking third? There was nothing there today. There was no hard-up play. It wasn't great for Nketiah up there. Again, today is inconsistent. In January, we need to go for that striker. That is an upgrade on Nketiah, because there's just nothing there. We can't keep, and it's the fact that we have to keep relying on Jesus, and he's injury prone. These players are injury prone, and the fact that we could have addressed this in the summer, it wasn't enough. We could have brought Maddison in the summer for the Havertz money. We could have brought Kudos, who scored another great goal today, who could have came on in this game to give us something, probably in the final third where we were struggling. It's annoying. It's very annoying. Some 50-50 I'm with Arteta with his press conference reaction and the fact that he's come out and said what he said. I agree with all of that, but at the same time, he is the reason why this has happened today.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'll say.
We're having video problems, Deanie, so
Okay.
but we are able to hear you.
No problem.
So just to clarify on some of those decisions, was it a red for Bruno for you, and should the goal be disallowed?
He gets the yellow card in the second half for something similar, and he should have had a yellow in the first half at minimum for it. So yeah, it should be a red. It should be a red, absolutely. And I don't think it's a goal. I think the ball goes out of play. It does hit Bruno's arm when it comes in. When the ball does come in, it does hit his arm. So even that's another thing you can add on to the context of whether it went out of play, or whether it was offside, or whether it was a Gabriel push foul, or whether it was handball. There was at least 4 things in that phase of play that could have chalked off the goal. And then I looked on Twitter and I thought, you know what, let me just take off my Arsenal hat for a second and see what everyone else was saying. Everyone else was practically saying we were robbed and this, that, and the other. I don't want to say that because, again, I want to focus on what we're doing, and what we're doing is not enough. But at the same time, yeah, it's a tough one to take. We didn't do enough to win the game. Did we deserve to lose? I'm not sure, but we didn't do enough to win.
I don't think we deserve to lose. I think that's what hurts. I think it hurts that, like, a contentious decision, fine margins went against us in a game where I actually thought we did quite well. I don't think this was some hanging on job from Arsenal either. I think we really nullified them, but we've been quite good at nullifying, yet being quite nullified ourselves. Deanie, big thanks for joining us, mate. Always a pleasure to chat to you.
Take care, lads.
Thanks, man. Got some super chats, fam. Let me just go through them quickly now. Apologies, everyone, because I don't want to leave you all out either. We've got other callers as well. Download the AFTV Plus app. I see a lot of people sort of going in the comments, typical AFTV negativity. We were good today. Listen, download the AFTV Plus app, come call us and talk to us about this performance. Red Square says, Liverpool get robbed by VAR, they pile the pressure on the PGM as well. We get robbed by VAR, we pile the pressure on our own team. We took off standards for a lot for the club. Where are our standards as fans? Red Square, Liverpool, the VAR officials said, yes, it's a Liverpool goal, and then they played on with the goal not standing. You cannot compare the two incidences. Liverpool were also down to 10 men and created more against Tottenham than we did in terms of clear-cut chances than we did against Newcastle. Mm-hmm. So there was a performance there that at the very end of it, Liverpool fans were utterly proud of. Now, I'm not saying I'm not proud of my team and my players. I actually think fair play to them. They all showed some heart. They all showed some commitment. They got stuck in. They didn't get bullied by Newcastle. I know the narrative that will run. St James's Park, they bully you there. It gets too much for teams. That didn't happen to Arsenal. That did not happen. But also, we're the more expensively assembled team that challenged the title last season. So what did we bring to Newcastle? It's all well and good us talking about how we stopped them and what we did. What did we to stop them? What did we do to actually cause them problems? So you've got to look at it both ways. There were things we did well in this game, in fact, very well in this game, but we lost, and there was plenty we didn't do well. I don't know if you want to come in on that, Super Chat.
You said all. I agree completely with what you just said there.
All right, well, we've got Robbie joining us. Robbie, how you doing?
How you doing, man? Yeah, very. Hold on, very disappointed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. Carry on.
Yeah, very disappointed. Obviously, let me just back off because the guy you can see behind me, Cecil there, was doing some interviews there. We're still at St James's Park, but yeah, really, really disappointed. You know what I mean? I thought it was a game that was very, very close, a game of really tight margins. And I'm yet to, you know, I was just saying to the guys, some Newcastle guys, so I've never seen somebody get 3 lives in one, you know, 3 VAR decisions and all of them go from.
Yeah. Well, but my thing, have you watched them back, Robbie?
Well, have I lost you guys?
No, we've still got you. Have you watched the decisions back?
Sorry?
Have you watched the decisions back? The Gabriel
I've
push,
seen
for example?
I've seen the push on Gabriel, and I didn't think, I thought that was a foul.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I see the first one, I've just seen like some things on Twitter with the ball going out. I know it's very hard to judge those ones, but to me, it looks like the ball was clearly out. But, you know, I don't know.
Okay, fair. What did you make of Arsenal's performance? Because once again, I think we did some good things, but we struggled to create anything.
It was exactly, we didn't create enough. It was a physical battle. It was a war. We were up for the battle. You know what I mean? I thought Declan Rice was brilliant. Saliba was brilliant. We were up for the battle. You know what I mean? We didn't get bullied. But the problem was, you know what I mean? It's a game of small margins, and the small margin went to Newcastle. I think probably a draw would have been a fair result, but the small margin went to Newcastle. We didn't get you know, during the week, we was always saying we could have done with VAR to get us that first goal, which I didn't think should have stood against West Ham. And then today now, three VAR decisions against us. But, yeah, it really disappointed. All
right, Robbie. Well, look, it's a shame about the result, but I know you guys got some good content from out there. Hope you've enjoyed the trip despite the result.
So just before you go, James, you guys have seen it back. What was it then? Were those bad decisions or?
Go on, Turkish. I'll let you.
What, to buy Kai Havertz and leave Eddie as a backup? Yeah, it was bad decisions. Because that's the decision.
Oh yeah, I mean, both of them were anonymous today. You know what I mean? I thought in the case of Eddie and Nketiah today, he had no service. And I think, you know, you saw both strikers. You know what I mean? Callum Wilson came off as well because he didn't get no service either. It weren't a day for strikers. But Kai Havertz, I want to see him. He was playing in that 10 position. I wanted to see him create something, and I didn't see that happen at all. And I'm really starting to worry about Kai Havertz. I really am. This is starting to look like this has been a poor decision. But but I'm on about the free VAR decisions.
The Guimaraes one is a Stonewall red card. I think.
Oh gosh, I saw that one. That's a red.
For me,
all day long.
That's the worst of the lot. Like, how on earth they've seen that and not given a red is absolutely beyond me. But they're a disaster. They're a joke. My take on the goal, I think it is a foul. I think it is. I don't think we've been completely robbed that they gave it. Just because if you're going into nitty gritty, Gabriel's got quite a low stance when he's coming into it. Like, I think he's pushed, but I don't know. It's a foul for me. Like, if I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, I genuinely would give it as a foul. But I do think also when you go into the whole clear and obvious thing, which they talk about, I don't know if it was clearly and obviously a terrible decision.
It looked clear and obvious to me. Two hands in his back.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes. Look, you know what? Arsenal fans are just going to get on to me for trying to defend it. Look, I think it is a foul. But I don't feel totally robbed by that one like I do other ones. And I don't know if that's
what about the
performance.
The ball being out?
That I think that was in. Apparently, beIN Sports beIN Sports did a thing and showed like basically a VAR style thing and showed it was in. But
who's that? Richard Keys in them lot? No, I'm not. I'm not taking it.
To be fair, well, they also said it was a foul on Gabriel, so you know, whatever. But I don't. You know, Ben White switched off. It looked like on the goal.
Yeah.
David Raya coming out and you know missed the ball as well.
Yeah.
Arsenal could have their part to play in that goal as well. Like, I even without Joe Linton fouling Gabriel, I kind of think that might end up in the back of the net. Like, I don't know. I
don't think so. No, I think if he doesn't foul him, I don't think he then gets to head the ball back across.
Maybe not.
Creates the havoc. So I wouldn't say that. But listen, as I said, it weren't that we come up here and got bullied. We didn't. I mean, it was a game of really small margins, and we've come out on the wrong side. So we just got all the help.
Always a pleasure, Robbie, mate. Enjoy your trip back.
Cheer up, Turkish. Cheer up, Turkish. You ain't got to drive back 7 hours, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Very true. Very true.
7 hours.
Don't forget to pay that Dartford toll.
Hey, I've got that locked in. All
All right, take care, man.
right, love, Rob.
Cheers, Robbie. Let's get the next caller in. Let's get chatting to you all. Get your thoughts.
Who's that? Curtis Shaw TV.
Yo.
It is Curtis. How you doing? Hey, can you hear us?
No, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can't hear us.
Oh, I can now.
All right, go for it, Curtis. Talk to us, man. How you feeling?
Bro, like, a week's a long time in football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Beat Sheffield United last week. We're high flying. Do you know what it is for me? And maybe I'm looking at the bigger picture too much, but it kind of feels like last year we had the spine of the team, and we just needed to add those missing pieces in the window. And we've tried to address that, and we've got some of them pieces wrong. Obviously, with Havertz is not working, and then but the problem now, it feels like parts of the spine are falling apart as well, because Partey's come out, Jesus has come out. You've disrupted the goalkeepers, and to me, I don't know about anybody else, like, I don't feel at the moment like Raya looks like a definite upgrade on Ramsdale. There are certain parts of his game. Yeah, you look great on the ball, you're calm, you can pick a pass. The fundamental of a goalkeeper is, can you save shots? Can you catch crosses? Keep the ball out of the net. So it just, I don't know, last year it's like we took a big step forward. It feels like we've almost took 2 steps back.
Yeah, I feel that way. Turkish?
He makes a good point, because that's a good way to put it. Last season, when you look at, essentially you're saying the same thing I say, we were taking 2 steps back to potentially go 4 steps forward. We pulled our hamstring at the end of last season and they reconstructed our spine. Yeah. That's what you're saying. Like we pulled a hammy at the end. It needed a little bit of a massage, a little bit of a rest, a little bit of spray it up a little bit going into the next season. Nah, we've come in with a scar on our spine. Yeah. So he makes a good point there, because that's what frustrates me the most about it all.
Curtis, everyone's talking about it. Arteta's lost his head about the officiating. How do you feel about all that?
Listen, like, VAR in this country is just not working, not the actual product, the people using it. The goal itself, I mean, like, I saw that same thing you've seen on beIN Sports, and they're basically saying the ball was in.
Yeah.
At the time when I saw it, I thought it was definitely out, but, maybe it was in. I thought it was a push on Gabriel. Yeah. Gabriel has this thing sometimes where, rather than being strong and winning the ball, he looks for the free kick. I'm not saying that's what happened. I do think because it's led to a goal, I think there's enough to give a foul. I actually think the worst decision is the Bruno red card is bigger than the goal for me.
I agree with you.
Forearm across the back of the head, and he should have been booked about 4 times. But it may come across wrong, and people will jump on me in the comments for this. I'm one of these people, I'm like, control the controllables. If things happen outside of your control, you can't do anything about that. My biggest problem today is I never felt for 1 minute like we were winning that game today. We had 1 shot on target. It was Martinelli's shot in the first half that was straight at him. He had the Declan Rice header from about 14 yards out. They won every header from every cross. We don't shoot from outside the area. And we just, like, last season, to me, we were probably the most enjoyable team in the league to watch, even as an Arsenal fan. I think until the end, when City took over, we were the best team. This season, we just look like the style of football's gone. Saka, the last month, has just disappeared. He can't beat his fullback.
I agree.
He looks predictable. Martinelli, the same. Odegaard's been poor. And Ketia, for me, makes us worse. I don't think Jesus makes players around him better. I don't think Eddie does. Eddie's very one-dimensional. I'm trying to score and nothing else. And then you're looking at Havertz, Jorginho, Fabio. Them 3 cost 112 million. I don't think any of them have really pushed us forward as a club. I just think if this manager's going to continue, he's got to make some cutthroat decisions with people. He's got to go to that board in January and say, listen, I might have got this Havertz one a little bit wrong, but you've got to buy me a striker for 70, 80 million, or I can't even compete with the league. The City are top, and De Bruyne hasn't kicked a ball for him. So how are we going to bridge that gap without spending?
Yeah.
He fucked up with that signing, man. Because for once, I'm not looking at the owners. For once, they've done enough. So
He's Kroenke in.
So it's not even that. It's not even that. Trust me, don't put words in my mouth. Yeah. You don't do that, my guy. Because if I caught you in Orlando, shit will hit the fan. But,
it wasn't all on camera.
Don't worry, it's here, bro.
Something.
It's here.
I might be trusting the process. You said
you scarred me for life.
That was in phase 12. We're in phase 58 now.
That's true, actually. That's true.
No, but for once, I can't blame the owners, Curtis. And you're right. Like, in January, ideally, he goes to the board and says, I fucked up with Havertz. But imagine the first year, I don't look at the owners, He goes midway through the season and says, I fucked up with this one. I wouldn't be surprised if the owners say, well, sort it out yourself, mate, because why did you also keep Smith Rowe and Eddie? Why did you give Reece Nelson a new contract? Why did you do all these things if you don't rely upon them when need be?
Yeah.
So don't come to the board now and tell me you need this. You could have fucking done this, mate. That's my point. You could have done this.
Do you know my biggest question? Sorry to interrupt you, Terry. I've thrown a few grenades out on Twitter, right? And the question I want to ask people is, do we believe this manager can take us to the Premier League and the Champions League? Because that's the aim of Arsenal, right? We've won FA Cups and still not been satisfied. We've been top 4. We wanted Wenger out with top 4. That was considered not enough. My thing is always, can this manager take us to the next level? And that's where the question mark is for me, because it's like, I think he's a very good coach. He has great ideas, style of football. He can improve players. But his man management and his ability to get a team over the finish line, and at times his talent ID as well. I did a video the other day going through all of his signings, and I was like, there's probably 9 or 10 that have worked. There's a good 13, 14 that have been total misses. Some very expensive ones as well. So for me now, it's, if you get to the end of the season and you haven't won a trophy and maybe you finished 4th, but you didn't really compete with City, it's like, at what point do we say, this is the end of the road, you've reached your ceiling, A lot of people say that Brendan Rodgers thing. Brendan created a team at Liverpool that was very exciting, challenge for the league, but they had to get Klopp to get over the finish line. He was the winner. He was the world-class manager. I know it's a story, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but I think we've got a right to ask that question. He's had a lot of time and a lot of money.
So I'm just to answer it quick, I'm of the belief that Arteta will get to a level where he's good enough to win the Premier League and the Champions League. But I don't know if that's next year. I don't know if that's this year. I don't know if that's in 5 years. I don't know if that's in 10 years. I don't know if he needs maybe a different club, slightly different. I don't know what it is. Sometimes the fit just isn't. I don't know. I believe he's talented enough. I believe he's got us a long way. Let's put it this way. If Arteta had City's squad, do you guys think he'd win the league?
Oh yeah, I think he would. Yeah. I think that team does it itself almost.
So that I think, you could say does it itself, but that tells me that Mikel Arteta can. But are we saying he can only do it if he gets hold of De Bruyne and Haaland, one of the best midfielders and strikers the Premier League's ever seen? Like what is it then, or what is it going to take? Because 65 million, we're not Kai Havertz, like you said. So where are the blind spots and how does he address them? But I think they are blind spots rather than actual lack of talent and ability. Like I think he'll get there. I just don't know how quickly.
Yeah, and that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. I mean, listen, if Timber, Odegaard, Partey, Jesus are all fit, I think we're a different team. But the reality is you are never going to get through a season without injuries. So you then have to look at, well, if that guy comes out and he comes in, can he still keep us going to win the league? And I think the problem at Arsenal, the jump between players is too big. Jesus to Nketiah is too big. Odegaard to Fabio or Havertz is too big. Declan Rice to Jorginho is too big. And that's why we fall short. Last season, if Saliba's fit, we might win the league. But the drop-off is the problem for me. I think we still The concern for me is I still think we need a lot of money spent. A lot of money. I think we need 1 or 2 centre mids, a striker, another right winger to push Saka. The left back situation, I feel like we've opened a can of worms there. It looks secure. Zinchenko, Tierney, one attacks, one can really defend. You've let him go. Obviously, he's got injured. Tomiyasu's done well, but it's not his natural position. And now Zinni looks like, you know, he might not be in the team now. I'm really surprised Zinni hasn't played midfield for us yet.
Yeah, I thought so too. Curtis, got to take some other callers, mate.
No
it's always
problem.
a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Big up you, man.
In a bit, my friend, in a bit. Yeah, I think Curtis explained that, explained the officiating one better than me. Like, even if I think it's a foul on Gabriel, I still think the red card's worse. And I'm surprised how all the focus on that, where there is a bit of pushing and shoving in boxes. There is the whole clear and obvious thing that comes into play. That's not me saying I think it is a foul, but I'm surprised that the conversation isn't about that. Like, you club someone round the head.
Yeah, 100%. But obviously, people just link the goal to the
That's the thing, because that's
the robbery.
That's it. They see that's the moment. But for me, earlier in the game, the red card, clear red card on Bruno Guimaraes, who, by the way, did nothing all game but run around kicking people. I thought he was awful, but irritatingly, he's on the winning side. I'm surprised that's what people aren't more focused on, but I kind of get it. All right, let's get into the next caller. Who's next to join us? Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
What's your
guys.
name?
Bless.
Jimmy,
Pleasure
to meet you,
calling
man.
from Germany.
Oh, amazing, man. Thanks so much for calling. Look, help us break it down. Where is your frustration first? Officiating, the performance, lack of fluidity?
I'm not frustrated, but I'm not expecting to win this game. Because when I say Odegaard out, then the team is not good enough. I need to say I have respect for Curtis on this. Very hard to talk after him. He said all. I think team is not good, and Arteta had make a bad decision on the summer, last January too, and it's now it is what it is. I have a question for you, my man. If we are playing Real Madrid on Santiago Bernabeu, and if you are Real Madrid and Ketia, Havertz and Jorginho starts, are you afraid?
No.
I'm not.
Are you afraid?
It's very, very hard to say anything else. I think Arteta is very talented manager, and he has ability to do it, but he need to recognize his mistakes. January is key.
Yeah.
On the referee decision, last 30 years, we have seen but it's a bad decision, but for me, but it's not to look at that. We have one shot on target.
Yeah, that's the bigger talking point.
That's big. January, we need... Sorry, Turkish.
Forget Real Madrid. Would Wrexham be scared against them? Let's be serious.
Probably.
Agree, absolutely.
What, Havertz, Jorginho, and who was
Yeah,
the third one?
they probably would think. Yeah.
I wouldn't be scared to face them. Would you be scared to face them if you went on a pitch against
Yeah,
them?
they are professional footballers.
Yeah, they're obviously better than us, but scared to face them.
Not at all.
Yeah, like, obviously.
I think...
Yeah,
Sorry,
they're
guys.
playing Mbappe, Messi, and Haaland.
No, but you mean scared in terms of being like physically overwhelmed, like just totally, I don't know, just you. Yeah, you would. Jorginho and Havertz would still play.
Jorginho the best of the lot, but Havertz, no chance in hell am I scared to play against that guy. What's he done for you to say you'd be scared? No, James.
He's made it as a pro.
Sorry, James. You can watch from another angle. Saying like this, Tottenham plays Real Madrid, and Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester City. We play Manchester City, and Nketiah start for Manchester City. Are you afraid? Are Saliba afraid? Gabriel afraid? No, they are laughing at it.
Yeah. Listen, I do. Yeah, I do
Curtis, big respect for you. You are talking like me, and you are not dinosaur. Because if you are dinosaur, I am too. I am with you 100%.
Yeah, man.
Dinosaurs here, man.
Love you guys.
You've been fantastic.
Thank you for opportunity.
Come on, man. Come on again, man.
Thank you for joining.
Take care, man.
In a bit, Bliss. What a name as well. James on the payroll. On what payroll? Oh, man. So I don't know why, but let's just get into the next caller. Who's next? Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good to see you again. Help me understand what went wrong today.
Turkish. Well, the first thing I just want to say towards you, man, and I'm in full agreement. I know it looks very negative, but I just want to say, in summary of the game, I'm just going to say it in one sentence. Defensively, we did not deserve to lose that game, and creatively, we did not deserve to win that game. I think that sums up the game, in my opinion. And what baffles me is we've had an Arsenal team over the years that creatively have been brilliant. We've had the likes of Fabregas, we've had the likes of Robin van Persie, we've had the likes of Aubameyang, we've had Mesut Ozil. We've had players in this team that create amazing chances and a weak spine. And I think one of the best things Mikel Arteta has done to this team is strengthen our spine. I think that's something we needed for a long time. But I feel like it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. When last can you honestly tell me we've had a world-class striker in the box that defenders fear? Someone that you know can get you a last-minute goal. Someone you know that his name is on the team sheet and those two centre-backs are going to be scared. That's the question I've got.
Yeah.
Van Persie is the last one.
For me, maybe Aubameyang, I'd say, when he had that
different
very
way. I think Van Persie could do something out of nothing, whereas Oba relied on service too at the same time.
Yeah. I think we had a run where Alexis Sanchez was up top.
Okay.
And what I loved about him up front, and by the way, it took Wenger years to come to that conclusion that he should be playing there. But what I loved about Alexis up top was he did do everything. He ran beyond, he dropped short, he could hold up the ball, he could pass, he could link up, he could run at you with the ball at his feet. He did everything. And that's probably the last time that we had a player that I thought, do not give him time. Like we could play terribly and we stand a chance with him out there. Now, I think Gabi Jesus has a lot of that, but the clinicalness, like he's just not, like you don't worry about him as a goal threat, but you worry about him as just an out and out footballer. But then you sort of also know he can spin me and twist me and dart past 3 players and be through on goal and maybe miss it. So there's that. So I get your point. I get what you're asking.
And just another point on the team as a whole. I think regarding the game, it's the sore point is that we didn't draw. We didn't get anything out of the game. We didn't deserve to win that game. And if we carry on playing like that creatively, we don't deserve to score goals, in my opinion. I think.
Do you think we deserve to lose? Sorry to cut in. Do you think we deserve to lose the game? That's an honest question.
Defensively, no. Yeah, so that's the point I was making is defensively we don't deserve to lose that game, but creatively we don't deserve to win it either.
Yeah.
And what I do feel, Turkish, yes, he made a mistake with habits. I think most people are going to agree with you there. But what baffles me, we've got the same team, bar Tierney. Okay, Tierney's out on loan. But besides Tierney, we've got exactly the same team that pushed City into April last year. There's one other big noticeable absentee, but my point on that absentee is that Declan Rice falls Granit Xhaka's position. If Thomas Partey is fit, or if you have Jorginho in your 6. And I think that isn't a lot of focus, all these pundits have been focusing on that number 8 position, that box-to-box position. We've got 3 players that can play there. Besides Havertz, I'm not even talking about Havertz. I don't even recognize him there. I'm talking between Declan Rice, Fabio Vieira, and even Zinchenko, if you really want to push it, can play in that position. My problem is the number 10 position. We didn't have our captain today. What creativity does our team have? So that number 10 position, in my opinion, that should have been covered. That should have been sought after, so that if Odegaard is not available, we've got someone that can step up and someone that can change the game. And if he doesn't want a centre forward, then my other opinion is then it's either that or it's a centre forward. Someone in that box. How many crosses? You guys saw the game. How many crosses did we have into the box? That just went missing. It was easy defending for Newcastle. We don't have someone in that box that is going to put a challenge in, someone that they're scared of marking, someone that can draw a foul, get us a penalty. And that's our biggest problem. We don't have the threat, that level of threat that other teams fear.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with
that's for me. It's the centre forward and it's the number 10 position where he really hasn't. We're very short there.
Funnily enough, two crucial positions for scoring goals and creating chances. But yeah, mate, listen, you make some great points, and it's great to hear from you again. Please call back, yeah?
Awesome, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.
In a little bit. Let's get our next caller in as well. Really good points made about those positions. How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad, man. Good to see you guys, man.
Yeah, good to see you. Go on, get it off your chest. What do you think? What's at the forefront of your mind?
Oh, James, where do I start, man? It feels like Groundhog Day with Arsenal this season. Like, we've had a good sample size of games, but people can't say it's the beginning of the season. We had 11 Premier League games, 3 Champions League games, and 2 Carabao Cup games. So, and you see the same thing with Arsenal all the time. You know, possession stats 60%, 70%, sometimes even 80%. But you've got to look at the areas of the pitch where we're affecting them. It's not affecting the right areas of the pitch.
I agree.
And even today, when we did manage to beat Newcastle's press, our execution in the final third, and this is not the first time this season has been poor, very, very poor. I mean, even from the strength that we've got, James, in terms of the set pieces, going back to last season, coming into this season, we had 11 corners today. Newcastle had 0.
Yeah,
and they're a physically imposing side. But today was one of them games. Now you guys felt that if Arsenal conceded the first goal, we was in trouble here.
Yeah,
we can talk about the officiating, and I think that's probably another podcast or a stream. But I was concerned. I thought the game was quite close. I think there were turning points during it in terms of the Havertz yellow card. I thought we did well for 35, 40 minutes, but then Newcastle had the ascendancy and came into it a little bit more, and the crowd got up. And the second half, I thought it was a bit nip and tuck, but you can't win games of football if you're not deadly in the final third. And the problem Arsenal have got, not just for this season and probably going on to future seasons, is the striker market is not a massive market, James. If anything, it's decreasing to go and find somebody out there. But yeah, the football going this season, I think it's a good sample size of games to say that. I'm concerned going forward, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What do you think of, like, we don't look as good going forward as last season. So either we've explored, probably me and Tuck talked about it more than anyone else on this channel. We've explored, is this a deliberate thing from Arteta to protect the back four? And I understand, to give a little bit to the defence, maybe we've got to take a little bit away from the attack. You've only got 11 men on the pitch, I understand that. But what worries me, I used to have faith that Arsenal could turn it back on if they needed to. Today, they needed to. Zinni came back on. Now, I know we're missing Ødegaard, Jesus, Partey, and I believe they're all crucial, but we didn't even look like we could go through the gears and at least apply pressure. Now, applying pressure doesn't mean forcing Pope into loads of saves from high XG chances and all this. My voice is gone. What it means is, can you stick the ball into the box in a somewhat dangerous area? Can you get a succession of corners? Can you keep them camped in their half? Can you get them doing some last-ditch defending? I saw 1, maybe 2 examples of that in the last 25 minutes. It's got to be relentless. And we didn't look like we could relentlessly sustain attacks in this game.
That's about, when have we done that this season?
Yeah. I agree.
2-2 Fulham, which the goal came late. Okay, I'll give that one, but we failed to do anything when they got the equaliser. 1-1 Man United. Listen, we did win the game in the end, but it came from a corner. We wasn't applying pressure like that. Lons, we lost that game. When did we really start applying pressure in that one? And now today. So that's 4 examples in the first, 16 games of the season? Yeah. That's a quarter, 4? It's a quarter. Quarter of the games where we've needed to be able to flip it up a little bit, we failed, and those are the only 4 games where we've needed to have that, and we failed. So we failed at 100. It's 100% rate that we failed to switch on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. What changes would you make for next week? Havertz came in for Ødegaard. We don't know how long Ødegaard's out for, but he didn't really set the world right light, though. He showed some fight, so I can give him that. But I mean, listen, we're scraping. What would you do next week going into Seville?
Oh, it's $1 million question. The thing is, it's very difficult to answer because our slightly better performances have been in the Champions League. So I'm probably a little bit more confident there, but I know he said he's proud of the players, and I understand why he would say that. But if if you kind of analyze it and really, really deep it, we didn't deserve to win today, like Bruce Cooler said. I think we probably, I went for a draw sort of going into today's game because I wasn't that confident going to St. James's Park. But in terms of changes next week, James, I'm kind of looking at it thinking, it depends on the players that are coming back and how long they're going to be out for. And you're relying on some of the guys that played today and probably the games before to actually step up. And unfortunately for us, they haven't done that this season. And that's the problem with the fringe players. And every club has this, James, in Turkish, by the way. Like, you want them to come in and make an impact. They didn't do that They didn't do that in the week against West Ham. They didn't do it today in parts. And are they going to do it on Tuesday, Wednesday night, coming into Burnley on Saturday? Time will tell. I guess that depends more so on the quality of opposition. But Arsenal have to be more of a front foot team, and that has to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. Mate, thank you so much for calling.
Nice.
Sorry we don't have the most energy, but listen, you make great points.
Albert knows me, man. He wasn't expecting energy.
No worries, man. Love, bros, man.
Cheers, Albert. Cheers.
You too.
Ash in the comments said, James, check Carragher's tweet. So I've had a little look at Carragher's tweet, and he said, VAR didn't change the decision from the officials tonight on the goal. They couldn't find enough evidence / camera angles to overturn the 3 incidences. They couldn't give the ball out if they don't know 100%. If there was no VAR, it would have still been given as a goal. Which I agree with some of that. Let's go. We've got Stephen calling us next. Hey, how you doing, mate?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, a bit dejected, a bit flat, but I won't let it ruin my weekend. But I'll let it ruin my next, my last few hours and what's left of this show. But go on, mate. Help us out. Help me understand what went wrong today.
Oh, man. Creativity really is what went wrong. But what I will say is, it's a bad day. Everyone's frustrated. I get it. But I just want you to hear me out for a second.
Go for it.
And I think Turkish touched on this at the beginning, right? I keep hearing people say, we didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to win. Rightfully so. But I think we got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, right? Newcastle is a good team, and it's a tough place to play on the road. Now you compile that with the fact that we're going to start the game. We find out no Odegaard. We already don't have Partey, and we don't have Gabriel Jesus. So prior to the game going – So prior to the game,
why not?
Well, yeah, right, at this point. But what I'm trying to get at is really prior to the game, I would have been happy with a draw. Just going in there with a draw. And, we keep piling on. I hear a lot of people talk about Kai and, he 65 million pounds or whatever. At this point, Kai does not put the price tag on himself, right? He is what he is. Arteta decided to pay what he paid, and this is what we're getting. Not good enough, I get it, but we move on. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, I thought we looked calm, we looked composed. In my opinion, I thought we were fairly in good control, and the most important thing that I thought out of that game is I thought we looked focused. In that first half, I thought we looked focused, composed, right? Did we create chances? No. But the fact is, all season, we've had Odegaard in the starting lineup, and all we talk about is chances and how we don't create. So why did we expect that all of a sudden, without Odegaard, now we were just going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 different chances at scoring a goal? It just wasn't going to happen. And as much as we bash Kai, if he's starting in that position, then why on earth would we even think that he was going to provide some type of spark?
Can I cut you? I'm really sorry. You asked why should we expect, and you give a really great. You're spot on. From what we've seen with our eyes, why? Why should we expect any different? I think because as fans, we hold out hope that the £100 million combined outlay on Vieira and Havertz is going to at some point bring what we think Arteta invested in. That Eddie Nketiah, off the back of a hat-trick against Sheffield United, super backed by Mikel Arteta this season whenever Jesus hasn't been fit, is going to deliver in a big game away from home. We think that eventually Arteta, with his full season and £400 million spent, is going to have more solutions to when we lose a few players. Now, I actually agree with you. Jesus, Ødegaard, Partey, I'd agree. Maybe only Zinchenko is probably the only one, but those are three of the four most crucial players to our fluidity and our ability to kind of play the kind of football we love seeing. So I do agree that they're a big miss. But Arteta's had plenty of opportunities to find another way, and that's why the expectation. I came in, and if I knew nothing about what it cost to bring these players, I'd have had no expectation. But the hope is in me that eventually we're going to see what Arteta saw when he signed them.
Yes, I agree. But I also, and I do agree with what you're saying, but I also do think that, you know, as fans, I think we focus a lot on that price tag, right? And that's kind of what I was trying to just say in terms of Kai, right?
Yeah.
Kai didn't put a 65 tag on his chest and said, hey, everybody, come get me. This is what I'm worth, right?
Yeah.
That's just what the market said he was worth. And for better or for worse, our manager said that he's worth that. So fine, he got it wrong. At this point, I'm never arguing the whole thing. He's got that wrong, and we got to move on. And the other thing that I really want to ask, you know, you, James, and Turkish as well, I'm very curious what you guys think about this is, you know, we talk a lot about we need that other striker, right? And Ivan Toney is the talk of the town, and everyone's talking that's the guy we need. That's the guy that's going to propel us to get all these chances. But my question to you guys is, and genuinely curious, is, you know, Ivan Toney, and I will say I haven't watched him a lot. I have watched a few games of him, but he looks like that, you know, striker. He's up there. You bang him the ball, and he's big and strong guy. But my question to you guys is, if we're not creating chances at all, you know, what is he going to do up front? Like, I believe, James, you mentioned one thing, and this is I'm not defending Eddie here or anything, but just to put it into perspective is, you know, one thing you mentioned is the lack of opportunity Eddie has sometimes, right? They're not giving him the ball. And we look at Eddie and say, what did he do? He didn't do anything. But then you look at the game and you're like, well, he never got any opportunities. He never got any through balls or anything like that. If you carry that same thing over and you swap in, say, an Ivan Toney in there, and Ivan Toney's not getting these through balls, not getting these opportunities, not getting these chances, you know, is that really what we need? Or do we need an actual creative midfielder, one to either back up Ødegaard, or Ødegaard's he's been poor this season, in my opinion. But, you know, his standard was so high, so I rate him a lot higher. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of we're not creating chances, you know, this fluidity or chemistry, as we're saying, you know. If we're not going to continue to create, how does Ivan Toney change that, you know, in the squad?
Who's the decision maker in making us a more controlling team and a less creative side? Mikel Arteta.
No,
whose decision is it to keep Eddie Nketiah as a backup? Mikel Arteta. And at the end of the day, Eddie stepped into a side midway through last season that, on the flip side, was creating an abundance of chances, and he lost his spot. So we all knew, regardless of either creating chances or not creating chances, this guy's not the one. This is why tonight I'm so frustrated, because it's like all roads lead back to Mikel. And instead of Mikel coming out and being, you know, a bit more honest about the troubles we're facing creating chances, he's gone to, you know, rant about the referees. Like, bro, we didn't do enough to win this game. What was your plan? A 0-0 draw? Because we failed to create an adequate chance. So talk about that, because it's not the first time this season. So as much as, I understand you, and I agree with you, chance creation is a big problem for us. I don't actually think it's personnel-wise that is the problem. I think it's tactical tweaks. I think it's the instructions being set for each individual. I said it on my fan cam. I said, back in the day, the instructions came to a defensive unit, a back four. Midfield would get instructions, and the forward line, two strikers, would get instructions. Now it's the right back has an instruction, the left back has an instruction, the right centre back has one, the goalkeeper fucking has one. Back in the day, it was save the ball and distribute. The 6 has one. Every role now has an individual responsibility. You can see that. And when it's working, it'll be labelled genius. When it's not working, We need to speak on it because it's not working. It's not. It hasn't been working all season. And if people thought that we're unbeaten so far as an excuse, I'll lean back on the 22-game unbeaten run with Emery. We all knew there was something there, but we all rode the wave because it was our first season off the back of Wenger, and it felt good that we was, going a multiple amount of games not being beaten. But when the cracks showed, everything opened up.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked bad. Yeah.
We're going to move on to our next caller, mate, and our final caller. But you're fantastic as always, mate. Thanks for joining.
Love, Steve, man.
Thank you, guys.
Catch you in
Have
a
a
bit.
good one.
Catch you in a bit. And our final caller of the day to round it all off. How you doing? I might as well just say, and to round off the show, let's bring in Mans.
Last but not least.
Man, it's been a shit week, man. Me and you wanted to go through the Carabao Cup more than most, and then you follow it up with not even a performance I hated, because there was a commitment I liked, but a result that's not good enough. And certainly questions that have been asked already this season still not really improving. What are your take?
My head is hot, James. I'm so angry. I haven't been this angry about football for a while.
Yeah.
Because I know I've come here and I talked about fluidity and many things, but I'm so proud of the boys today.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the team. The way we first of all, let's put things into perspective. We came into one of the hardest stadiums in England.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle is one of the 4 games. Newcastle away is one of the 4 games that I looked into in the season. I hate going into that place.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on that stadium as well. I hate going into that place. Aston Villa away, Newcastle away, Liverpool away, Man City away. 4 games, 4 hardest games in the season, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And we outplayed them completely. Not in terms of chance creation, but in terms of defense and midfield, we completely outplayed them.
I actually agree on that. I agree. In those areas of the pitch, we were better. Massively.
They haven't had a sniff in the first half. They haven't had a sniff in the second half.
Yeah.
Now, we have problems as a team? Yes, we do. Because we bought in Kai Havertz. We bought in Kai Havertz instead of a player, Xhaka, who was the best box-to-box player last season. Best box-to-box. He was, in my opinion, the best number 8 last season. And it was always going to be a problem replacing him. And when you replace him with a player that hasn't really shined in England ever since arriving, that's going to be even more of a problem. So do we have problems? Yes. I think our biggest problem today in terms of creativity were Martinelli and Saka, because their job when Jesus is not here, because they should know, like we know, that Nketiah is not a player that's going to be a creative false number 9. Nketiah literally relies on balls being fed to him. So when Jesus is absent, their job is to be the creative part in attack, and they weren't. But in terms of everybody else, Jorginho, Kai Havertz even, I'm really surprised to say that, but in my opinion, he played very decent today. Jorginho played well.
Jorginho, I agree with. I thought Jorginho was fine today. I agree with that.
I thought Jorginho played well. I thought Declan Rice was the man of the match. I don't care if we lost.
Yeah.
I thought Declan Rice, and I thought our defense was spotless. And then you got that couple of Muppets in that VAR room. That, I have to really be careful about what I say now, because you'll never have me back on the show if I really say what I think. But if fans want this to change, instead of mocking each other every time, when Liverpool lost to Tottenham because they got goal disallowed because of a huge mistake, or we lost today to Newcastle only because of the referee, they robbed us of a point or 3 points, you never know. We've played the same against Sevilla like we did today. I thought the performance was very similar. Yet we went and scored a goal with Martinelli one-on-one, and then we scored a second goal with Jesus. I thought the performance was very similar.
I was fine with the general performance, I agree, but what I'd say is different though. Against Sevilla, we had a cutting edge and a penetration. We had something.
Jesus.
Gabby Jesus.
Yeah, because of Jesus. But the performance was very similar. So there's no way we could just say, oh, we were definitely not going to win the game if Newcastle hadn't scored. We could have.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do.
But even the point away at St. James's Park, for me, even if we're going for the title, is a good point.
No, I agree with that too.
Man City cannot win at this stadium. They did a 3-3 last season. They lost 1-0 this season. PSG got hammered at this stadium 4-1. Not many teams are going to come here and win. So to not only to get a point here, but to outplay them the way we did, for me was good. And then we got robbed. I'm sorry, we got robbed.
But
I really don't care what Ben Sports was showing. there was an incident in the World Cup where Japan scored a goal and everybody thought the ball was out, but then they invented this new thing where the ball has to be out the whole way, this and that. And I was like, okay, well, if that's the rule, then I'm sure that's going to be used from now on. And I've seen the ball go out the same way a million times since then in so many games. And they've ruled that as in the ball has gone out. They've not used this whole like camera thing, all the hold of the ball. And then today they come back to that again because it's convenient. They didn't see the push on Gabriel. He didn't have the hands on his back. He had the hands on his neck, literally. Hands on his neck. And I thought, and what's his name? Gordon, the guy? That Muppet as well? Yeah, that was offside.
Okay, man. Look, I actually agree with a lot of what you said, and looking at the more positive side of things for Arsenal. But there is a fluidity issue. Like when the openers were there in the first half, we couldn't do anything. Then when we needed to put the pressure on for 25 minutes, we couldn't do it. So something isn't right there.
Well, there is a fluidity issue because the manager has decided to buy Kai Havertz to play as a number 8, and if Mikel Arteta had half the trust he has in Kai Havertz and Fabio Vieira, I think our fluidity would have been much better because I've been standing up for Fabio Vieira ever since I've been coming on here, and he doesn't get any sort of chance. He came against, I'm going to repeat what I said last time I was on here. He came in against Fulham, he's had a good game. He's come in after that, he's had good games. And if you put him there as a number 8, I think that's our best midfield. Rice as a 6, Fabio Vieira as an 8, and Martin Odegaard as a 10. And I think that's probably, with Xhaka now gone, that's probably our best midfield. Or, alternatively, if Thomas Partey wasn't injured, play him as a 6, Rice as an 8, and Odegaard as a 10. But he insists on Kai Havertz. It was his choice. It was an arrogant choice. It was a £65 million choice. And he's not going to back off. He's going to choose integrating Kai Havertz into this team above getting results most of the time. And I'm just okay with that now. That's what I'm okay with now because we're a more controlled team now. I don't expect to see any fluidity. Not any fluidity. I'm not expecting to see the same fluidity I've seen last season. In the end, if that wins us the league, I'll keep my mouth shut. If it wins us the Champions League or even gets us in the final, I'll keep my mouth shut. But if Mikel Arteta this season doesn't win a trophy, finishes below second, or even finishes second and doesn't win a trophy, Mikel Arteta, as good of a manager that he is, has to go. Okay. Has to go. That's my opinion.
Thank you for joining us, mate. And thank you for always being so patient.
Oh, just one last thing. If the fans want to see a change, they have to take matters into their own hands. PGMOL is not going to change anything.
Yeah, but how much will that do? But I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. Thanks, man. As always.
Thanks, lads.
Thank you. Let's get the super chat. I know you've all been sending in comments and super chats. Apologies, it's taking a while to get to them, but let's see what you had to say. Miss says, what's the counterplay to teams doubling, tripling up on Saka and Martinelli makes them look so mid? I'll tell you exactly what it is, Miss. Arsenal not the first team to have wide wingers that hug the touchline, terrorise teams. What did they do when that happened? You had De Bruyne and David Silva would then go, cool, thank you for occupying all those players. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is we haven't signed players of those profiles. I think Vieira's the closest. If you're really forcing it, you're saying he's a left-footed, small give-and-go player, but nowhere near the quality of Bernardo and David Silva, but profile-wise. But I haven't seen his version of a De Bruyne. I haven't seen his version of a Gundogan signed. And he worked with these players at Man City. Yeah. Complete central midfielders who killed you when space opened up.
That's probably one thing that he still is yet to prove. That he can work with a big name.
Oh, maybe there's that. Tommy says, boys, I'm just as angry as anyone, but after so many games, we lose and win. We do stupid, silly mistakes. Yes, Raya was the biggest culprit, but Gabby, who was immense, should simply clear the ball. So Tommy thinking it's not enough. I hate to say, listen, the comment section are all on me about it. I get it. I can't help but feel that whether he was fouled or not, and I think he was, that I'm with you, like, something didn't look right about the way Gabriel was trying to defend it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But he was brilliant today, and I do think he was fouled. Ollie says, how can VAR draw lines to find a pube stray offside, yet not see if a ball is in play? Surely they have the tools to not just say no camera angle. Look, I don't know. And like, also, a lot of people are upset about that one. And I'm not trying to defend VAR because I've been on them more than probably anyone on this channel. But like, if it is out of play, it's like by that much. Like, how about we defend properly? Like, how about Raya doesn't jump out and like... I'm not saying these decisions don't matter. It is the fine margins, but I think we're obsessing on it a little too much. But I understand the disappointment. Ricky says, honest question, TNJ, is it possible that Arteta has regressed the style to fit Kai, realising Kai can't match Xhaka's role? He's dug a £65 million grave, if so. I also don't want to hear this. It's the signing that ruined the project. If we're a proper big club that actually spend money, it shouldn't be you spend 400 million, but you've got to get it right. If Kai Havertz is a failure and a flop, write it off as a failure and a flop then. So what?
Rotate.
Like, Chelsea did that with Kai Havertz. Man United have done that with Romelu Lukaku. Hell, City have maybe not quite 65 million, but City have bought players that they've ended up going, oh, actually, I'm not sure. Look at Calvin Phillips. He's only 20 million more. Like, and when Rodri was out for 3 games, Pep didn't use him. So, like, we shouldn't be afraid to go, we got it wrong. You tried something, you got it wrong. I still think if he's ever to have a future in this team, Kai Havertz, it's up front. But, like, that's... I know I'm scraping. I know you're giving me the Turkish look. I know, but
I hear what you're saying. But listen, I can't believe he done it. And if he doesn't realize his mistake soon, because it is a mistake, then it is a make or break signing. Yeah, for him, because
it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, because in January you can come out and not say that it was a mistake, show it in the window. Yeah, make the necessary moves. I keep on saying that I cannot believe we have Kai Havertz at Arsenal. I can't fucking believe it. You know, we bought Pepe, he flopped. We let him go for free. The same year Chelsea buy Havertz, he flopped. We buy him for 65 million. I'm sorry, as much as Arteta's done so much good to get here, this is a damning blow to his process and his project. It is a damning blow. Because it's madness. We can all forget about the Willians and the Tavareses and the Lokongas, because over that time, other signings were coming in and helping the trajectory go up. This summer is the one where Rice has come in, he's helping us, but the trajectory is not up, because the only way up from here was to win a league title. And as much as people say, listen, it's only game week 11, it is. But come on. Yeah. If you had to make a prediction right now, you predicted Arsenal will win the league title. Do you still think that's the case? Okay, you don't even need to answer the question. Done. Wrap it up. Hit the like button. Love for the love and all of that.
I do. Because I'm a delusional fan.
but you know why you're saying it.
No, look.
Your initial smile. Listen.
Can I give you an honest answer to that?
Your honest answer was the initial smile.
No.
It was.
No. Okay.
This is you thinking about an honest answer.
Let me just tap away at my mind. Okay, look. If Jesus, Partey, and other players continue to miss this much of the season, no way, no chance. I really believe if they are fit, and obviously when I made the prediction, Timber was fit as well. I really believe if the majority of our key players stay fit, and some people say that's not realistic. Look, it is realistic. Every team that has won the title has had fitness on their side, has had luck on their side on the fitness front. So if that's the case, Partey, Jesus play a significant amount of this season, I still think we're going to win the league. But right now, well, I'm being serious. But right now, yeah. Are we winning the league with Kai Havertz playing most of our games in midfield? Not a chance. Are we winning the league with Eddie Nketiah playing most games up top? Not a chance. I completely agree with that. But I do think fully fit Arsenal 11 is good enough to win that league. So can they please get fit?
Oh, that's a tough ask in itself.
Yeah. But that's a. Do you think our fully fit 11, Partey, Odegaard, Rice, Jesus, Martinez, Saka, you think they can win the league?
Yeah, if Man City have injuries, which they have.
Yeah.
Because they going into the season, I still predicted us to finish second.
Yeah, fine, yeah. Rizvan says, methodical, slow, overcomplicated football, not near the levels of last season. Arteta's got to take a lot of blame, not just for today, failed in the transfer window and failed today tactically. Red Smoke says, send Havertz to Argos, click and collect. Okay. Right, says Turkish and James, it kills me to say this, my guys, but I'm completely Arteta out, and it's not just me due to this result. Arteta has taken us backwards. If you guys have a fan zone on Monday, I'll explain why. Lee Jacobs says, thanks for the call. Just one thing. You need at least one world-class big-name player to win you important games. We don't have it, and Mikel Arteta's record with big names isn't great. It's the one thing about him that makes me doubt whether he's hit his ceiling. Everyone, thank you for all your calls. Thank you for all your super chats. Thank you for all your thoughts. A bitter pill to swallow, not just because of the result and the defeat, but also just how the game was fiery, and it just like added a sense of pride to it that he didn't want to lose either. And from lacking fluidity to very, very questionable decisions to just losing at a place that I didn't feel we deserved to lose for our overall performance. It's frustrating, but it has highlighted our bigger flaws that have been there from day one, which is that fluidity is a problem this season. Okay. Sorry, some more comments have come in, but they're just talking shit. All right, everyone. We're gonna round it there. Big thanks, everyone. Catch you next week. Reaction coming out throughout the weekend. Fan cams. Check it all out. Thanks for calling. Thanks for contributing. Catch you soon.